Do you have some slides or you just... Okay. Okay, great, because then we also need a remote.
Yep. Doesn't need one.
Good morning, everybody. I've missed apparently spending some time with you last night and the other night as well. I'll try to catch up and be at the same level with everyone's spirit. So about 2019 elections, actually it's the Romanian presidency of the EU Council. That will happen in the first half of... is okay? Yeah. Better? Yeah. But okay. So it's the Romanian presidency of the EU Council that will happen in the first half of next year. And we will definitely need all the support that we can get in order to make sure that the digital ecosystem that happens in Romania will be leveraged and will be put to use in an EU context. But I will talk more about this or less at the end of my pitch, which is about cooperation. And actually I have more questions than information for you today. More questions regarding the role of government and how do you see this join up between government and the civic movement? What is the objective of a government? What are the main goals? They're always shifting, right? So we see every time we have a government change, we see different agendas. It looks like it's a bucket list, right? Like an action item after action item, firefighting with a lot of administrative stuff, rather than being able to capture a strategy and act on it. So my key aspect here is actually around some of the objectives that you are working for. To put the citizen in the center of the objective of any government. And we see very strong governments that were able to do that and were able to advance around the world. We look at Japan, we look at Singapore, we look at countries where the citizen places a focal point, and we see their entire strategy being shaped around this centricity. And it is very advantageous. In the end, the entire country is benefiting from this purpose. So we need to help the Romanian government also move from a bucket list type of activity towards a citizen-centric type of activity. It's definitely, again, beneficial to all the actors. And how do we do that? We cooperate, right? We put our ecosystem to work in a better way. We do have a good ecosystem in Romania. We have quality education. We have quality volunteers that we see also in this conference. We have good institutions that will be able to expand the reach that you are having individually. And all of this is still not working as functional as it should be. So my question for you is, how do we help each actor of this ecosystem engage better and engage more? And how do we make it more challenging for everyone to participate in this? One of the I'll put it in a different context as well. There are two arms of the civic movement. It's civic tech and gov tech. Civic tech, right? It's obviously about citizens. It's about how do we make technology happening for the community, and it has a community-centric approach. While GovTech actually has the government as the customer, and it's looking on how do we make the governments more efficient in whatever they are trying to do for the citizens. But these two need to marry. And as we all know, we had a referendum last weekend, so now they can marry, as it's not in our constitution that they can't. So I think we are seeing a shift in the paradigm also in how the civic technology is being adopted in the community, and how civic tech is moving closer to gov tech worldwide, because the end goal is the same. It's all about the citizen. Which brings me actually to what I remarked at the beginning around the presidency. We've identified Code for Romania and Code for All as a very strong organization in Romania that is able to gap some of the problems, to bridge some of the gaps that we have, like manpower and desire to reach the citizen. And we are getting closer to forming a partnership to identify some of the key problems that we see in our society, and with their help be able to bridge those and to leverage their expertise and their speed and their manpower in the end into reaching out communities, while we are putting out the government's ability to expand and to scale up. So hopefully this partnership will be very successful, and we will try to put that to work throughout the presidency of the EU Council in the first 6 months of 2019, and hopefully we will see good benefits around that. Throughout the presidency, we will have a lot of events, some 250 plus events. Some of them will be for and around technology. Hopefully we will be able to engage more with you in those events and listen to what you have to say and what you've identified as being valuable for the community and for the citizens, so that we can leverage our position as the president or having the presidency of the EU Council in promoting those activities throughout all these events. Government, as part of this ecosystem, still is able to provide the rules of engagement, can provide some of the financing options, can provide the data, right, which is always useful to play around with and create that create those applications that actually will benefit either through smart city applications or through government-wide applications or to country or nation-wide applications. So I'm looking forward to seeing you identifying those data sets that are meaningful and useful for the citizens, and let's make use of what we have today, and let's fight for what we need as extra data, and try to leverage as much as we can from whatever the government is able to put forward, and for whatever you can actually bring to this ecosystem. So this was my input for the day. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, I wish you a great summit forward. Thank you.
What? Okay, we actually have lots of questions here. Okay, let's start with Matthew question, 3 thumbs up. How do you bring smaller, newer civic tech actors and startups into the traditional procurement process?
This is a hard issue, and lies not with Romania. Actually, this lies with the European Union legislation around procurement. As we all know, the European Union has been started by very big actors like France and Germany, and they really want to protect their environment. It is very difficult for us as a nation to promote our own startups and our own innovation companies and mixing them with a very cumbersome e-procurement system at EU level. I'm hoping that we will find the resources to address that, but for the moment there is a problem at European level, not at Romanian level.
Okay, Claudio, I'm not sure how to read that. When is Romanian government going to interconnect all the data sets it has? We still need paper copies of IDs for every citizen-state interaction.
Okay. This is, the CIO office has started end of 2016. It is the first time that we ever had this position, and I'm honored to occupy, to be the first occupant of this position. What I've done in the first month of my mandate was actually to propose a list of actions that we have to make, and then the government changed. And this has been happening ever since, right? This is not obviously an excuse. But we will have a lot of projects around e-government. And you will see a governmental cloud that will happen at the beginning of next year, which will be able to capture what we call life events. Life events are, to those of you that are not familiar with the term, are the interactions between citizens and governments. We've identified 36 life events as being of priority in Romania, like born, divorce, death, enrolling into college and paying taxes and going to take advantage of the healthcare system and whatever. So all of those are life events, and all of them have projects attached to them to digitize the process. Right now we're working, Ernst & Young was the company that won the award of identifying ways to digitize the existing bureaucratic processes. So we are, first of all, optimizing them, then find ways of digitizing them through business process management solutions. And this project will end 2019, and it will be the ignition fuel for the projects around e-government.
Okay. What is the roadmap of the Romanian government to improve the state IT infrastructure in the next 5 years?
The strategy is around life events, so it's again citizen-centric, and it will be cloud-first type of approach. So once we will have the life events and the digitized processes, we will be able to put them out in the cloud and then utilize the cloud infrastructure to span out and absorb more and more life events and interactions between citizens. I think we have a total of 54 life events that we've identified, and 36 of those are prioritized and budgeted. So we will see those happening in the next 2 to 3 years.
And now from Nico. Because of the lack of central coordination, individual cities increasingly create their own e-gov ecosystems. Do you plan to leverage their expertise?
Definitely. This is actually a great question. I'm also part of a smart city working group that will put out a strategy in Romania for smart cities. And we're trying to leverage through sharing and reusing the experiences that other cities have gone through to create some sort of a marketplace for applications like parking meters and transportation and other facilities that citizens use very well in one city to be able to expand that in other cities. So we will have that strategy ready in the middle of next year.
How do you achieve political support for your ambitious agenda?
It changes, right? It changes with every government. It's a matter of personal interaction. It's nothing else. It's been very difficult because we've all seen those of you that have watched the political scenery in Romania. We haven't seen a strong leader that is driving us towards a digital age. All the leaders that we have, most of them do not understand how technology is able to help the governmental process, and what they don't understand, they actually stay away from. So what I'm trying to do is engage with them as much as I can, explain the benefits, the cost benefits and the citizen benefits, and slowly, hopefully, we will be able to get there. But it's through a lot of interaction.
Okay, another one from Matthew. You are on fire today. What are your priorities initiatives for the next year? What are the priority initiatives that the presidency has appointed?
We're in regards to technology. I will start with the nicest one regarding diversity. We have one of the priorities will be women in tech. So it's a cool thing to have in terms of diversity. We will focus on innovation. we will focus on cybersecurity, and we will focus on academia and education around technology. These are the 3+1 priorities that we have set for our agenda. And innovation covers a lot of things: artificial intelligence, high-performance computing, a lot of the entire ecosystem within the innovation sector.
How did government officials become convinced of the value of civic tech groups, like, for example, Code for Romania?
Well, they actually aren't. Most of them see civic tech groups as noise, and people that are asking for things other than what they want to put out. So that's the reason for my request to make use of what we have and try to focus on what we already have out. We have over 1,100 data sets out that are a continuous stream. So let's try to make use of what we have right now, and at the same time promote what else we need to improve on our citizen approach. But let's try to focus on that. It's the movement. It's obviously perceived as an ONG type of movement, and it's always a disruption, right? To any government around the world, any type of ONG activity, it's mostly perceived as disruption rather than an enhancer for activity. So you all know that it's nothing new, right?
Is GovTech a way to recruit civic technologists? They don't always have the same goals. Not all civic tech is partisan.
GovTech, in terms of ONGs that do government efficiency programs, maybe. I think the skill market, it's very dynamic anyway, so movement will happen. No matter what. So I don't see here a specific pattern. I think it's very dynamic. We will see it even more dynamic than this. So yeah, by any means.
Okay, 1 minute, okay. Nico, without resources for IT departments in public institutions, money, people, authority, e-gov and open government are hard to come by. Solutions?
Well, I proposed, it was under Prime Minister Grindanu, I proposed the formation of a governmental agency that would be able to put together the expertise from the entire governmental span and put it to work. The Ministry of Communications actually was really not backing it up. They saw it as a threat to their own policy-making process. And I'm still fighting in trying to convince the governmental actors that without a strong agency under the Prime Minister, it would be very difficult to put the resources together and actually get something done on our own rather than relying on public acquisitions and civic tech and GovTech companies.
One more question? Well, Matthew, you got lucky. What would you like to see civic tech companies, organizations doing to make it easier for you to work with them?
Well, this is a good question, actually, and I think I've started that by having a lot of interaction with Bogdan and with Code for All. I'm trying to understand exactly what would be the best fit. We've identified some of the paths, maybe some use cases and low-hanging fruits are best to start with. Also, developing the frame of such partnerships would be really beneficial for the government, and we can do that with Code for All. And I'm really appreciative of their work in Romania.
Awesome. Done? Okay, unfortunately we are out of time, but thank you very much.
Thank you.